It's probably one of the most disturbing pieces that I've ever read.
A shocking secret letter unearthed by the 7 Eyewitness News I-team, raising new questions tonight about who knew what and when concerning child sex abuse in the Buffalo diocese. Good evening. That letter concerns Father Dennis Riter, who was still an active priest just earlier this year. But before March, Riter's name had never been mentioned by the diocese in connection with any abuse allegations. But in his exclusive report tonight, 7 Eyewitness News Chief Investigator Charlie Specht speaks with multiple victims and an eyewitness who claims to have blown the whistle on Riter years ago. A warning, some of this you may find disturbing.
Where's the accountability? Where does it stop with them? You know about this, and you did nothing.
Matt Golden and Nick Caetano are alleged victims of Father Dennis Riter while they were altar boys at this Buffalo parish 20 years ago. The diocese suspended Riter from his current church in Dunkirk 2 months ago.
And we begin with that breaking news from the 7 Eyewitness News I-team.
When we first broadcast the boy's story. But now the 7 Eyewitness News I-team has found yet another victim, this one from a church in Lackawanna, and a secret document that suggests 2 bishops may have been warned of Riter's abuse more than 25 years ago.
It's probably one of the most disturbing pieces that I've ever read.
He's talking about this letter obtained exclusively by 7 Eyewitness News, written and signed by a student at Christ the King Seminary in 1992 who says he witnessed Father Riter abusing a 6-year-old boy at this Lackawanna rectory. When the seminarian says he alerted 2 bishops about what he saw, he was told to keep quiet.
I consider this very, very serious matter. It was heartbreaking to see this.
The seminarian remembers helping a frantic father whose young son had gone missing when they decided to look for the boy in the church rectory.
All of a sudden, I think from the office, the child emerges. Just all of a sudden. And I see Father Riter in the background.
The father grabs the boy's hand to leave the rectory.
And he takes his hand that he was holding the child with, and he sticks in my face, and he says, "What is this?" Uses the F word. What is this? I'm like, I can only identify the substance by one thing.
It was the smell, he says, of male semen, and it was on the hand, hair, and shirt of the young boy. We recently talked to that boy, who we're calling Jason. Now in his 30s, he's still embarrassed about that day.
When he took me in his office and he shut the door, he pulled his pants down and made me perform oral sex till he was done.
Jason suffers from anxiety and depression. The abuse has taken away much more than his innocence.
I don't have religion because of this situation. One time is enough. I don't trust nobody, really.
The seminarian was alarmed at what he saw, and he wrote a letter to Bishop Edward Head and Auxiliary Bishop Edward Grosz, telling them he witnessed Father Riter in a morally and legally questionable situation with a young male child. He called it very disturbing, to the point that this keeps me awake at night. He asked the bishops to launch an investigation to protect other children. Anyone who would take advantage of a child, he writes, should be criminally investigated and not serve as a priest in any capacity in any ministry in our Catholic Church.
I hand-delivered. I hand-delivered to the bishop's offices.
But he heard no response until months later, when he says he talked to Peter Popadick, who was the longtime secretary of Bishop Head.
He stated something to the effect that my letter wasn't really well appreciated or wasn't well taken.
We approached Monsignor Popadick at his rectory last week. He says he has no recollection of the letter and says, quote, "I would never say anything like that." Bishop Head died in 2005, so we asked to speak with Auxiliary Bishop Edward Grosz, who was named on the letter in 1992 and who now plays a key role in the diocese's response to the sexual abuse crisis. Through a spokesman, Bishop Grosz declined an interview request, but the diocese in a written statement said Bishop Grosz did not receive this letter, and the diocese has no record of receiving it. Parish officials in Dunkirk said Father Riter, while suspended, does not live in the rectory, so we asked the diocese to pass along the letter with the latest allegation. Spokesman George Rickert said, "I cannot help you with this." Asked whether he at least passed the letter along to the suspended priest, he said, "I cannot answer that." After the abuse, Matt's life went into a spiral. His demeanor changed. It pains him to think if the bishops had only acted on that letter, his abuse may never have happened.
People knew about it. and they didn't do anything about it. And now I've been here for 22 years, kicking myself thinking that I've done something wrong, where in essence, if this was taken care of in '92, I had have lived my life to the full potential that, I could have been.
Now, Bishop Grosz declined our request for an interview, but he is now the fourth bishop to be linked either through secret documents or through our reporting to the cover-up of sexual abuse in the Diocese of Buffalo. Meanwhile, Father Riter remains on suspension, his future in the hands of a diocesan review board, which is a group of lay Catholics that will decide his fate in the next few weeks. For the I-Team, Charlie Speck, 7 Eyewitness News.
All right,